So, thank you all so much for journeying however many hundreds of miles or however many blocks or buses you had to take to get here. It means a lot. And I do want to apologize on behalf of the New York City and Westchester chapters because it's not their fault, they're related, it's my fault for following GPS. And it's not my first line. So let's just jump right in. I handed that agenda out, so there was like a very unique effort put into developing this agenda. But as you see, we're incredibly behind, and I know it was really innovative that you all decided to have a joint chapter meeting and leadership meetings. Thank you for doing that. We bonded at Burger King and getting lost, and y'all got work done, so that's good. So I just wanted to just quickly frame what we're doing today, and also amend the agenda because we're going to let each region sort of have 5 to 10 minutes to talk about what you've been working on, updates, so that the whole of the leadership understand what's going on. Then we're going to switch back to sort of the agenda, and we're going to have Robert talk about the sort of origins of Vocal New York and sort of where we come from. Then I'm going to go through the structure, and then I'll start to follow that thing. If you want to do anything in particular, this is your space. So if something we're talking about, if you're not trying to talk about it, let's not talk about it. Let's move on. So I think first, I'm going to frame the day, and then we should do some introductions, and then we're going to have some updates from each region. So the reason that you're in this room, and I know you all know that you're a vocal leader, and what that means is that you're a person who is directly impacted by one of the issues that we work on, and that means also that you have the decision-making power for the organization. And I'll talk more about the structures of how this organization functions, but essentially, everything ultimately that we do has to be run by the folks in this room. That doesn't mean that everything that you think we should do, or we will do, but it means that everything that we do, it should come from some authentic place that people in this room who have done this work, helping us build this organization, that you're saying that you need, or that your community needs, an issue that's widely felt. So, in New York City, because it's the biggest chapter, as you might imagine, because it's been around the longest, we had a 2019 post-session general membership assembly like a month ago, and the point of that meeting was to bring everybody together, thank them for, not so much leaders, but more so members, people who are not as active, brought them together, had them in a room together. There was like 102 people there, and what we did was we thanked them for all the work that they did, and every time we asked you to get up at 3 a.m. in the morning to get ready to come up to Albany, back to back to back to back, it means a lot. And honestly, the model, the theory of change that we use cannot function without that happening. So like, on behalf of Vocal New York and on behalf of the communities that we all serve, thank you so much for that. Like, that means a lot. And we're trying to build a movement. While we're trying to get these concrete things to change, we're trying to build movements to transform our world. And that is work. It's a process, it is strategic. That we're all building something together is not an accident. It's a very intentional process. And organizing, and I'm saying organizing italicized, means a lot. And you're a part of that process. So I want to go over what it is, what it means to be a leader. It's not like Robert's been a leader for how many years?
Oh, shit! Don't do that. about 9 years.
9 years. Candy just started with Vocal last year, this year. You see what I'm saying? So and has done incredible work, and I know you've seen it. But my point ultimately is that if something seems redundant to you, remember that not everybody's on the same level as you in terms of like what they've experienced. So that's what this is crafted with that in mind. So I think we should just do some introductions, like our name, pronouns, which chapter you're in, and sort of like what brings you to this work, or not. If it's too triggering, you can say what inspires you about this work. So, name, pronouns, what brings you to this work, and I'll start to demonstrate. My name is Jawanza. I use he, him pronouns, and what brought me here is I had an experience of homelessness. I'm a person living with HIV, diagnosed in 2013, and I had just graduated college. I had no idea what was going to happen to me, and then that happened, and then I moved to New York to secure health care, ultimately. I stayed there at least, and then I ended up homeless. I ended up in a hospice shelter, shelter for people living with HIV. And I started to realize that, in fact, my having living with HIV was not necessarily my fault. And the reason why is because I realized that I had the same sort of average sexual behaviors as anybody else, as any other community. But why were they not getting HIV? But I was, people like me were. And I realized it was about community viral load. And that community viral load was connected to people's access to healthcare. And people's access to healthcare was connected to race, class, and geography. So I was in a situation where I was almost destined to contract HIV. And then the homelessness piece, I was working my ass off trying to find somewhere to live, going to work, had a housing voucher and still couldn't find housing. Then I realized that it wasn't that I wasn't looking hard enough or that I wasn't trying. The reality was that there was a lot of discrimination that was happening. There was a shortage of housing stock. Housing was too expensive. So like me and hundreds of other people that I was around were having the same problem. And then while I was realizing that these things were inherently political, they were connected to racialized capitalism, they were connected to the dehumanization of our people, of people like us, of you and me, I realized then that we had to do something about it. I needed to do something. And while I was thinking that, here comes the Vocal New York organizer knocking on my door. I shut the door and being like, hey, we organize in AIDS, mass incarceration, homelessness, and the drug war, and we do it through leadership development and campaigning at the city and state level to build a movement. Do you want to be involved in that? And I was like, absolutely. And so, yeah, I don't think you should take that much time to explain yourself. I'm just framing, but we'll start here and go around. Name, pronouns, what inspires you about this work?
He, him. I've been vocal for about 3 years now. What inspired me is similar to Jawanza's case, but the thing is that I knew about vocal. I just didn't understand. I didn't understand what vocal was doing. And my mom used to say, when I was going through some criminal justice stuff, my mom used to say, yo, you need to get down with this organization. I'm donating money to this organization. You get down. I'm just in my own little world. But it was not until I was newly diagnosed, right? It was not until I was newly diagnosed. Here I am. I'm in a domestic violence situation. I'm homeless now, right? I have to go. I had to leave with no clothes or nothing. I'm in a shelter where I'm in a system where the shelter really dehumanized me, right? And then here comes Jason Walker, who knows me very well, and he says, hey, you want to go to Albany? And I said, go to Albany? For what? What am I going to be in Albany for? He said, well, we protested for HIV and HASA for all. And I said, well, that sounds like what I need. Because HASA, HASA is supposed to be for the people, right? And so that's, and HASA was just like really making me feel real. So that's what brought me here. Like, to fight against HASA in a way they would make me feel.
And thank you so much, Patrick. And let's try to keep it briefer. Devel?
Hi, my name is Devel, also known as long-winded, talk a lot, loud mouth, and a whole lot of other things. That's why I'm at Vocal.
And what chapter are you in?
The New York chapter, down in the city, Brooklyn, New York, where I was born and raised. And on the playground, I spent most of my days. But I came to Vocal because, like, this was the closest I could get to punching the police in the face and not going to jail, right? Doing the things that we do because I've always been, I'm gonna catch the system. Because it ain't doing nothing for me, so it gotta be changed. I've been doing it the wrong way, but you show me how to do it right. Jeremy, the first time I seen him get red-faced and jump up in somebody else's face because they touched me, I said, I'm fucking sure. And I've been here ever since.
Hey everyone, my name is T.S. Candy. I'm a leader with Vocal New York and deepen, New York. My specialty is sex work and transgender lives in the youth area. What brought me to Vocal? I was similar situation, hospital shelter, hospital, SRO, and Elizabeth knocked on my door. She knocked on my door. It took like 2-3 weeks before I was able to actually reach back out to her. And when I finally did reach back out to her, I got connected with Nina. And once I got connected with Nina, it was like the very first day of my action of me even doing something with Vocal was like an art protest. So I was like, yes, I'm down with, actually going out. Like, I'm action. I don't like to sit around and talk. I'm action. So, so I'm with Vocal New York. And it's like I'm the only transgender woman in the room, which we got working. More trans faces need to be at these tables. So, please bring in trans faces as well.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody, I'm Linda. Hi, I'm from Westchester County. I moved from Brooklyn, New York, and I moved to Yonkers. And I lived in a building where everybody there was infected with HIV and AIDS. Actually, I was diagnosed in 1995. I met two advocates there. I didn't know what advocating was at the time, but they were already doing the work. And in that building, there was a lot of issues. And I started a petition, and I started like going to people's doors and having them sign up for heat, everything we needed in the building. I didn't even know that I was advocating. So these two women, Anita Page and Elizabeth Fernandez, whom we lost. She didn't live in the building, but I knew her from the area. She introduced me to vocal. And I came to vocal, and I realized, yeah, I'm advocating. Like, I really love the work. I love giving back to the community. Right. I love the fight. That's my high today. Yeah, that's me.
Hi, my name is Deepen. I'm a vocal leader from Buffalo. What brought me into the organization is the mass incarceration. Just seeing the homelessness, which I was homeless for a while, just going through a lot of the world things, and vocal stand and help everything.
Hi, I'm Robin, a vocal ally, and what brought me in to this organization was Kim. And so I try to support and follow Rochester, Syracuse, as well as Buffalo. And all of these issues that we talk about, I've experienced through my life, through my work with children.
Hello, I'm Alexander. I'm from Vocal Westchester chapter. Me, myself, and I. What brought me to Vocal? It was a lot of things, like the homelessness and stuff, and living with HIV, and a lot of things that I've heard around this room. It's a mirror of me, too. And as far as advocating is concerned and things like that, I do it and stuff like that. I don't even know I'm doing it sometimes, so that's me.
Hello, my name is Ernest Wilson. I'm from the Rochester chapter. What brought me in was actually Dawn from Westchester. She kept talking to me, and Kim. She gave me a platform to use my voice. I've been positive 34 years. I was diagnosed in '84. HIV is one of the things that I'm really, fighting for. The HASA thing, we're trying to get that up in Rochester, Buffalo, Syracuse. So that's one of my issues, I really fight for that, and the legalization of marijuana. That's another one that we've been fighting for, and my pronouns is he and him.
I'm James. I'm from Buffalo, New York. I was born in Brooklyn also. I'm on the platform. I picked the whole platform. So I'm here. I want to be here. And Kim got me here. It was funny how we met. That's a long story. So I'm still here. I'm here. So definitely was part of the role. I'm Vocal Buffalo.
Vocal Buffalo.
Brooklyn in the house. My name is David Flowers. Everybody calls me Flowers. And I'm a big mouth. I was at the March for Martin Luther King, August 28, 1963. We were fighting for jobs, justice, and fair housing. We're still fighting, and we're not going to stop fighting until it is done.
Right.
You gotta remember, there are a lot of places who have found ways and solutions for every problem we're facing. And we have taken the lead now in some, like in HASA, that nobody else does that. I don't think in the US, right? Nobody else does.
In the world.
Right, nowhere else in the world does what Hosta does. And that's why we have to get it for every resident and fair housing for every resident. And I just want you to remember that one candle will dispel a room of darkness. You are needed, you are wanted, keep coming, keep speaking, keep being. And you got power! You're winning!
Just wanted to remind, like Buffalo has to leave at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
We really want to get some updates and things. So, like, I think the biggest thing is I want us to know each other in this room, so we should share. But I try to share as quick as possible so we can have everybody go, so that Buffalo can be a part of more training than just their updates.
Hi, I'm Kim, organizing in Rochester, Buffalo, Syracuse. Is that what you want?
Thanks for sharing.
I'm Eileen, I'm from Brooklyn. I'm here, I came here through the Court Watch program. I'm formerly incarcerated and a survivor of domestic violence and a criminalized survivor of domestic violence. So that's what led me to vocal to fight for the different aspects of mass incarceration.
Hi guys, my name is Felix. I'm from Vocal, New York City. What led me to Vocal was my building being turned into a shelter and my life going to hell as a result. And then having to enter shelter and find my way out of it. And it's just crazy out there. Thank you.
I'm Jose from Vocal, Rochester. About 2 years, mass incarceration and HIV. I've been living with HIV since 1995.
Pass it over here.
Can I hit those folks over there so that people can go?
I was trying to skate by. How you doing? My name is John McFarland. I'm a leader at Vocal, Brooklyn, New York. I go by him, he, his. I came through Court Watch like I came through Vocal, I'm sorry, through Court Watch. I'm also a lead observer at Court Watch in New York City.
All right. That's Robert Suarez.
My name is Patrick. I'm from Rochester. What brought me to Vocal was basically curiosity. And then I affiliated myself with Vocal and learned that Vocal has a lot of power to it. We have a very powerful leadership team, and the majority of the things that Vocal has interest in is what I had interest in firsthand, so stick with Vocal.
Hi, my name is Yvette. I'm from Buffalo. I'm a leader for Vocal. I've been homeless. I met him through Evergreen Health, and we're taking trips at 3 o'clock in the morning to go and support Vocal, and that's how I became a
My name is Shaquan from Rochester, leader of Vocal. How I became part of Vocal is Miss Kim. Also because I was homeless, so you know that's what brought me into being part of Vocal.
Hi, Philip, Brooklyn, New York, Westchester, New York. I did homeless, interview with Channel 10, Channel 13, marijuana justice, and did the pride parade for liberation.
Good afternoon, I'm Pedro Benitez. My names are King. Leave it at King. How I got to Vocal, I'm Rochester leader. How I got to Vocal, 2011, I was talking to Elizabeth and Dawn about house not being in upstate New York. That's the only reason I'm here.
Hello, my name is Christian Connell, and I'm with the Rochester chapter of Vocal. For me, I'm also here learning through Vocal. I'm also trying to help each cause. For me, I represent the HIV cause, and I also want to help with the mass cooperation as well, and do my best part. I'm still fairly new, about a year, but I within my year, I still plan to kind of continue to contribute and learn as I go along, and learn from both my peers and also from myself.
Great Christian.
Good afternoon, I'm Thomas, Vocal Albany, and his, I got involved with Vocal because I spent a lot of time in prison and I'd like to end mass incarceration and also the racist war on drugs.
My name is Kim Francis. I'm from Westchester, Vocal, New York. I really don't know how I was introduced to becoming vocal, part of vocal. But what I do know is that I was a minister to society. I was on the other side of the street. So what you're doing here, I was just doing the opposite. What Joe was doing here, I was just doing the opposite. I was a master structure. So after serving so many years and getting my life back together, I had 5 years and 7 months sobriety. I started to change my life. I started doing better things for myself, started loving myself, having more self-confidence, and reassurance about myself, and picking up my values, ethics. So in the process of that, I decided to be a service to the people, give back what I took from myself most of all. I'm just so grateful just to be here at home, to be a part of what all of you are here for as well. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, my name is Luke. I'm the statewide organizer for Albany chapter as well as Rochester chapter. What brings me to this work is that I am a transgender queer person in remission from opioid dependence, who's also a medical cannabis patient. And so with that said, also my white privilege really drives me to want to do a lot of work when it comes to helping with issues surrounding mass incarceration and racist and failed war on drugs, and doing the best I can to really bring attention to the fact that there's not enough emphasis placed on communities that are being hurt the worst.
Afternoon, everyone. My name is Hope. I'm from Queens, and I was introduced to Vocal because the Spirit of God led me to want to campaign for bond, for she was running for DA, district attorney. So I got involved because I believe that we all share a common enemy. Most people in this world, and that's the institution of white supremacy and racism, and it's causing all types of diseases. And I want to do the best I can do, even if whatever happens, to make sure I do my part to make this world a better place. Because this is a human issue. It's not whether you're black, white, rich, poor. This is a human issue that we're fighting for. And I'm hoping that Vocal becomes more popular through me and others, through media platforms and communication.
Hi, my name is Wayne. I'm a local Hi, my name is Wayne. I'm a vocal leader, Albany chapter here in Albany. What got me interested in the vocal was my wife and Jeremy. They were going on this trip to Washington, D.C. And I was like, I never been to Washington, D.C. I'm going. But little did I know is that they were going to Washington, D.C. to pay respect to the ones we lost from HIV. And that hit me, because I'm on that list of HIV also. So I was grateful for that. And I've been with Vocal for over 20 years now. So,
Hi, my name is Grace.
I got with vocal because I was home with my kids in the shelter, and I was in a program for people with HIV. They was coming up here to Albany, and I saw vocal was doing their thing. It wasn't vocal thing, it was night camp. And I saw them doing their thing, and Jeremy asked me, did I want to come join? I left the program and joined them and never looked back.
Oh, I'm inspired. So again, we're amending the agenda. So if we have leaders from Buffalo who want to give a report back just to talk about what y'all have been working on, it can be more than one person too. So if two people want to come up and I'm gonna write for you as you talk. Just let folks know
what we're doing in Buffalo.
what y'all got going on in Buffalo, what y'all thinking about, what y'all working on. I can write all this stuff. I'm gonna collect it into a document. I'll type it all up and then I'll send it all around, so that way we can all have like a piece of like what we worked on and what we discussed. So let me just move this.
Well, my name is James Lee of Buffalo, New York. What are we working on is doing some outreach with the people for the Leader Exchange and trying to find a base for us to have a place to do our work, have people come in and do our things. Also, we've been trying to gather. I got a whole microphone. Most we trying to gather a place to have for ourselves. We have our base meeting, foundation. That's what we really want. And we want more people to come in and join the group. That's what we're trying to get going in Buffalo. Get the chapter going larger. And what we want to do, while we're doing is do some outreach, right? Do some outreach for the Leader Exchange. HIV, hepatitis C program going out there. Spread of HIV, hepatitis C, right?
Hi, I'm a leader for vocal. I'm from Buffalo, and our last meeting, base meeting was July 13th at 11 to 1. So our next meeting is September 11 at 5 o'clock, and we planning to bring a proposal to vocal. We got a nighttime training that I will be doing because I'm an outreach worker and I'm here in Buffalo. Right. And I think that's it.
Hi, my name is Ibrahim. I'm a vocal here in Buffalo. What we want to try to put something together where we can get vocal. I'm involved in the senseless deaths in the Erie County Holding Center. We want to make our presence and let them know that we're supporting them, not just in Buffalo, but all around.
I'm sorry, Ibrahim, one more time. Can you just say that one more time? I didn't hear it. Yeah, just.
Well, one thing that we want to do is make vocals presence known, that we are supporting the people, like the situation with the deaths in the holding center.
Deaths in the
holding center.
It's the jail.
Solitary confinement?
A lot of people is dying.
Are you saying solitary confinement is the holding cell? Is the holding cell, is it like solitary confinement? Or?
It's the holding center.
It's a jail itself.
Where they hold you, and then they send you to it's a county jail. It's Buffalo County jail. And then they send you to Albany.
Like when you're arrested, right? When you get arrested, I'm sure y'all know someone. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people is like, they're letting people just die. Oh yeah, they're dying in the hole.
Excuse me. Do y'all have that?
Lack of medication.
Do we have
Hold on.
Do we have Bella?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, we have Bella, but most people.
No, I said like some type of death. Like how many people is dying in these countries?
Well, we had 2 people on 1 week.
More than that, 13, I think. 13.
Are they black and brown? Are they white? Like
Colored people, and white, black, Puerto Rican.
The people. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, so that's what's going to be on the agenda.
That's what we're trying to get ourselves involved in it. And make our presence and let them know that we support. We got our support.
You know which holding cell is this at? Which jail?
The holding center. We only got one in Buffalo.
Okay, that's just the Buffalo Holding Center?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Where the system doesn't work.
So, wait, Buffalo leaders, is there a way that vocal members, leaders from across the state can get updates about what you're doing?
That's what we're trying to put it together. We were talking about that a little earlier. We can have us January. I bet.
Maybe we can put together like a contract list where Jawanza can send us, everybody needs an update from every different chapter, we all send an updates and stuff. And we all can be informed what's going on, how can we support, what is it that we need, what you need from us.
Well, Kim been putting a lot of stuff on the vocal page. I've seen a few.
Yeah, but it's a different page.
The main thing is they have two proposals on the table that are going to be submitted to vocal administration for approval because they require resources. After that approval, Jawanza will be a part of that process, and then we can talk about inclusion and if we need other members from across the state to get involved and how you guys will access that information about what's going on.
Okay.
So it'll all be in the proposal. Yes.
Okay.
Right, what are the proposals, what are the two proposals that you are, what are the proposals?
No, let her say.
It's about going to the community and doing mainly help the community with the needle exchanges and stuff like that, giving out condoms, whatever the community needs, right? Because that's what I do. I take it out to the community because at the end of the day, if you pass a stem to somebody and you got a cut, you're gonna get the Hep C.
Proposal stopping and spread of HIV and hepatitis C.
No, I'm told I'm like, I'm on the same line with y'all, I'm just.
So it's really this body that makes decisions like this, right? Jawanza, that makes decisions on how we can help,
We'll talk about the structure of vocal and how decisions are made. Like the Buffalo chapter leaders are gonna make decisions for Buffalo specific campaigns. So like the wider membership wouldn't really be able to really say what we should do. We just want to know. But we're gonna work on that. So that's a good thing. But are there any other questions from anybody else to the Buffalo leaders?
What was the second proposal?
Right, what was the second proposal?
I can't hear you.
Rochester help out also, right? Trying to send people down, that was that the second proposal?
No, that was the first proposal about
Exchange
building
funding.
base, right, and recruitment. The second one is the deaths. That's the second.
What we want to do is kind of listen. It's been a lot of little protests going on, but we want to make our presence known and let them know that we stand as well, and we're there to help them and we're for them. I mean, because our presence haven't really been that visible in Buffalo. We need to make it a little more visible.
So, should we have Rochester or is anybody from Syracuse here?
I'll give an update quickly on Syracuse.
You want to do that first? And then we have Rochester come up?
Just quickly for Syracuse, so we just landed a vocal home in Syracuse in June. And so now that we have that home and that foundation, we held our first Syracuse community event, which was around trauma, to allow folks space to put their stuff on the table, clear up emotional space, so they can get ready for these vocal fights, right?
Okay.
That was last Saturday. This past Friday, we had our first chapter meeting, good turnout, and now September 14th, we are going to have Nick come in from New York City, and we are going to be holding community conversations about mass incarceration in Syracuse.
The women's group. The women's group.
Yeah, so we will be starting a women's drug user health group.
She's so vocal. So that was a women's drug health and
drug user health.
Well, we had our vocal meeting just recently, but this year happened last month. We did a media training at our vocal meeting, which went very well attended.
Can you say your name again? So I can...
Oh, my name Ernest Wilson. Sorry. Yeah. We had a vote, like I said, we had a media training, which we all probably need to do because there's going to be a point in time where we are going to be approached by the media. So, I mean, if they haven't done it in your region yet, it should be done. It was a very good training, let me tell you. Very, very good.
With Andrea?
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Oh, yeah. Since the last time we've been here, and I think it was both been really busy. We did a 10 weeks of action with the Housing Coalition in Rochester. 1 to 2 actions a week, a lot of protests, and we used the vocal way. We started laying down and shutting down the streets like we normally do. We do it like we do over the air, and then we also went and did co-walks with senators at the Capitol, trying to get them to co-sponsor the bill for the legalization of marijuana.
Oh.
For the senators to get them to co-sponsor the bill to legalize marijuana. And we also went to Albany, here in Albany at the same building a couple weeks ago, the Housing Coalition met. And one of the things we tried to target was to get Vocal was trying to teach them that, housing is the key factor of bringing people, provocation of homelessness. So we were putting the housing coalitions into following and adopting homelessness on their agenda. And so that, the housing coalitions, all of them agreed. So now we got a lot more people fighting homelessness. And as well, every Monday now, Vocal has also merged with a really large shelter. Everybody should know, your House of Mercy. And also with the Homeless Union. They've teamed up and they're breaking, every Monday they're gonna be there looking for vocal leaders, having teach-ins, seeing if they can find any more very recruitable people so that'll be standardized leaders for Vocal. As well, Vocal also is doing a homeless celebration in the month of October. It's going to be a really big celebration of the homeless. We're inviting everybody that can possibly come to the House of Mercy. And we're going to have games, food, and the works. It's got to be a vocal thing. Okay?
You said October the what?
October 12th.
October 12th? Yeah. At what time?
11 to 4. And as well, PAB has an interest in vocal, as well as PPC. They're coming to meet with vocal leaders.
What is PPC?
PPC, Poor People's Campaign.
Okay, and what was the other one?
PAB, Police Accountability Board. Going to be meeting with vocal to see if they got any interest there or to help support vocal or vocal support them, however it's got to go. So we got a lot of more organizations that have their own vocal, because vocal is a really powerful organized unit down from where we're from. And as well, I got more. We go on in a second.
Yeah.
Okay, we went to the End Overdose Conference here in Albany as well. Spoke with news media on the conference as well about ending overdose, but the legalization of marijuana. And that seems to, I don't know, the bill didn't get passed, so Vocal got something to fight for the coming year, right?
That's right.
We always got something to fight for.
Along with legalization of marijuana. Okay, I'm gonna say this. Somebody was like, you know how when you see something nice or a big jar of cookies, you want to stick your hand in it? Everybody trying to stick their hand in Vocal.
Hi everybody, again, my name is Shai Kwan. I'm a leader of Vocal from Rochester, New York. I am with Vocal. I became a member of Vocal because I did a dinner meeting with one of the Vocal allies to become part of Vocal. And I also went from doing a Pride and Liberation, and also I spoke about being homeless. See, I used to live out on the streets and everything, it was hard for me, growing up from being, 17 to the age I am now. I have 3 kids, I was in and out of the shelter, didn't know where to go. I was living on the streets and I didn't know if my kids were gonna be okay or not. So I kept saying to myself, like, you know what? I think I got something that I wanna do. So one day I met this lady, Miss Kim, who is a very special person that I love to death because she made me part of VOCAL. And I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for her and everybody else who inspired me. So again, I just want to say, my name is Shai Kwan. I'm a leader in VOCAL from Rochester, New York.
Good job, young lady. Good job. So let me tie this up with a bow. Once we came back from the last meeting we were here, the first meeting I took over as a leader. So no longer will Ken be the leaders. Every week, I'm gonna need you to speak. She shouldn't have to speak. Sit down. You already know. We had a very, yes ma'am. Pedro Benitez. We had a very successful town hall meeting with the Rochester Housing Town Hall. A lot of organizations came out and attended. We also made the front page of Vocal Guide weekly through Pride. So that's all we do in Rochester. We getting it in. That's all we do.
Segment, local leader. I did Channel 10 for homeless, Channel 13 for marijuana, that's it.
Right.
Opioid epidemic and media training, and I'm with vocal to speak for people who can't speak for themselves. You know, be a mouth for the
What I forgot to say, I completed people's actions week-long training.
Yes!
Didn't think I could do it, but I did it. And now, I feel like I'm gonna be the one to organize the organizer.
Just so everybody knows, thank y'all so much for that. People's Action is a leadership development program. So People's Action is a national organization or network of organizations, one of which Vocal New York is a member organization. They've been around 40 years and is building a long-term plan to help transform our world. So like this stuff, like the way that our world is right now, that planning happened 30, 40 years ago. And they're finally getting what they want. Now we have Trump in the White House, etc. But we gotta do the same thing. So in 30 years, that we have people like Flowers in the White House, people like Ibrahim in the White House. That's what I'm talking about. So if you're interested in People's Action training, if you keep being a leader, in being involved in helping organizations and building organization, that the give to Vocal leaders is that Vocal uses its resources to invest in the leadership development of its leaders. Like it was actually cost $1,000.
AOC.
You know what I'm saying?
AOC.
We need, well, yeah. So, do we have anybody from the Albany chapter that might want to give some updates about what y'all got going on? Well, you've been doing a lot of stuff too. So how about y'all both? Yeah, so we can all come up and leave like everybody else. Keep it simple.
Okay.
And then we'll do Westchester. And then for New York City, I don't know what you're doing because everybody knows what we're doing except on deepen. So maybe you should do an update about that.
Well, I've been doing a lot of phone calls, trying to get people to come out, you know, for most people that don't want to be seen. They don't want to talk about anything, but instead you force them to come. So we might have some more people coming up in Vocal from Albany. Because I'm not going to stop. Jawanza, he say, push. And he know me, I'll push.
So we've been doing a few different things in Albany every month. We've been kind of following Jawanza's movement builders movie night model, and we've adapted that in Albany chapter as well as our Westchester chapter. And so we've been doing that every month, and so this month we're also doing in around overdose prevention and doing the public injection documentary and tying that to our Overdose Awareness Day prep. So we're kind of gearing up for International Overdose Awareness Day and how we're going to have an event in Albany and also the events that we have in other regions potentially that we're going to be attending. So we've been working on that along with really trying to expand the sex work chapter what we're doing in the area and hoping to potentially start like a bureaucracy and a mini court watch kind of project. So.
Advocacy is a big part of my life. Hi. Advocacy is a big part of my life. I deal with a lot of different organizations up here in Albany, like Alliance for Positive Health, Damien Center, Unity House, and things like that. And I try to explain to some of the people that's affected or are affected about what it is that we do here locally. And they coming slowly, but they're not there yet. But my thing is that I keep going to the same ones that actually be in my face, listening to us. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at, going to different places that I am familiar at, where people are familiar with me, telling them this story about what Vocal do, how we rally and things like that at Capitol Building. Now, their eyes are open, but they're not coming forward. So my thing is that, let me go to them real quick and say, hey, this is what's happening, this is where we're going. You want to be a part? Come on. We give you a free ride. We got people that will transport you. If you ain't got a ride, here's the Metro card. You see, I do things like that. I try to get them to be a part of this movement. They may not know everything what we do, but they get it. And that's where we at right now.
Can I just interject for 1 second before you speak? Thank you, Wayne. The organizing term that we use at Vocal to describe what Wayne's talking about, which is really critical to Vocal's power. I'm sure all of you know that one of the ways that we are able to turn a lot of people out, that we're able to build our base, which is to build our political power, is by partnering with organizations that serve as the people that we organize with, right? So what Wayne's talking about is called institutional organizing. And it's not just up to the organizer. Kim can send 1 million emails to everybody. Luke can send 1 million emails. But whenever you're the person who accesses a service or who knows or has a relationship with these organizations, like, you gotta help them understand sometimes. Sometimes you gotta pull them along. And before you know it, they'll be like Evergreen, doing CDs. But they're a provider. But it's important. So thanks for that.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
You on camera.
Again, I'm Thomas. One of my most important issues with Vocal is the mass incarceration issue, and I would like to try and build that union mass incarceration movement up here in Albany. If there's anyone here who is a member of a community anywhere else dealing with mass incarceration, I'd like to get some ideas, maybe try to figure out what you're doing and work on some things together if we can. I know there's a parole reform bill that's somewhere floating around, and I definitely like to try and push that as hard as possible. If anyone knows of any legislative targets or someone who you can talk to specifically, let me know. Thank you.
Right.
So, honestly, I'm sure that we could do a New York City update about, but it's just wide ranging. I know. So I'm making sure that people know we're going to do the Westchester update, and then we're going to have Robert talk about, because we only have an hour left with Buffalo folks, so I'm going to make sure we get to some major stuff. So Westchester's going to do some updates, and Robert's going to talk about Vocal's beginning, and then I'm going to do some talks about the mechanics of our organizing. Okay, so revision. We'll have Westchester update, we'll have Lavelle do this announcement, we'll have Candy talk about decriminalizing so people know what that is, and then we'll have Robert come back. Okay, so.
Once again, my name is Kim Francis from Westchester, Albany, New York. Our accomplishments that we have embarked on was the last meeting that we had was 8/12 for Westchester Community Conversation about criminal justice. And then after that, we had 8/15, the town hall association with senators and associates in the library of Yonkers, New York.
Yeah, that's a big deal. You should really spread that out.
Yeah.
So that was ASC and Senator Mayor.
Yeah. It was ASC, Senator Mayor, and Andrew Stewart cousin. And what happened there was that they were speaking about a whole different range of things, you know what I'm saying? They were talking about the housing, they was talking about justice system, the marijuana, a range of different things, because everybody was asking questions. But I have a book here, the legislation's session accomplishments here in this book, if y'all would like to see what they have done so far of last year of 2018. Of 19. And we asked a question about HALT as well. And the marijuana.
Which is the only reason those things were discussed.
You might be using the mic.
All right. But anyway,
You just said about HALT
and marijuana. But like I said, it was a whole source of range of questions and comments that was made in the room. And we all had a chance to put our inputs in. But most of all, like this man was saying, my thing is about the criminal justice system. And I've been a part of that. I'm a fabric of that production of criminalization. I've been through the system for a long period of time, you know what I mean? For 24 years, maybe even more than that. I can't even count. But I'm just here to fill in the gaps and speaking for those people with unidentified faces and unheard voices. I just want to be a part of a great movement that the people that can't speak for themselves, that I can fill in that gap and speak for them, you know what I mean? I think I have some things to offer them, you know. But anyway, I just want to say thank you for listening.
All right, Kim.
Good afternoon. I'm Alexander from Westchester, vocal. What we just did, I'm gonna reiterate some of the things that he said earlier. We did do a town hall meeting and stuff with the mayor, the senators, mayor, and Andrea Stewart cousin.
And this is the Senate Majority Leader, so she's the most powerful. She's the most powerful senator in the Senate. So it's a really big deal.
Right. She's Black American.
And also, I was told I had a segment and stuff that I did and stuff about the marijuana regulations and taxation act, the MRTA. And we were talking to them about how it didn't pass in the Senate and things like that, how that act didn't pass. So we just reiterated to them that we're looking forward to it being passed this coming year. And also we were talking about homelessness, we were talking about mass incarceration, a lot of things in that town hall meeting. It was intense. Yeah.
So Alex did actually call Senator Mayer out on prioritizing the needs of the most affluent individuals in the jurisdiction during the evening, which was probably the most quote-unquote controversial comment, I would say, and she was taken a little off guard, and did use the phrase that our coalition, the Start Smart New York Coalition, was deeply disappointed with her lack of familiarity with the bill during the session. So it was a really wonderful and bold question for Alex to step up and ask, and for Kim to get up and bring up the fact that we had the votes to pass HALT if it were brought to the floor, and ASC, why did you not bring it to the floor? You know, will you commit to working with us in the future? And so both of them really stepped up to bring these issues forward. And we also handed out pamphlets at the beginning of the town hall to get people to think about HALT and to hand out statistics about solitary confinement before they went into the town hall, so that people's focus were on that subject, and eventually they kicked us out of the library and said we couldn't hand any of them out in the library, and we had to leave if we were going to have those in our hands. So we really pushed those issues that evening, and that was a really wonderful leadership, I think, development opportunity for our crew, and was a really great example of being able to respond to electeds kind of announcing at the very last second that they might be somewhere.
Can I ask the room a question? Do you know what that tactic is called? They went to a town hall that was organized by the Senate Majority Leader and a senator from Westchester County. There's a word that we use. Shut down.
Bird dogging.
Bird dogging. It's a very disobedience. It is a measure of disobedience or disobedience, true. But bird dogging is a really important tactic that you can use at any moment. If you know that an elected didn't do what your chapter said they wanted you to do, you go to their event and just ask a polite question, put them on the spot, make them talk about it.
Yeah.
But I'm just really impressed by this town hall in particular because, like, literally, Andrea Stewart Cousins sets the agenda for what the Senate discusses. So to ask her, why did you not bring solitary confinement, the HALT bill, to the floor for a vote, whenever we all knew that we had enough votes, which means that she definitely knew that enough votes. Why would you not do that? And we gotta remember what we're talking about. People in a box, losing their minds. Like, why would you not prioritize that? So I'm super impressed. Sorry to take up space.
No, thank you. I was very, very impressed with our leaders really stepping up in this situation. And that brings us to our newest leader in the Westchester chapter, which is Linda.
Hi everybody. I wasn't at the town hall. I couldn't make it. But what I have been doing, I am an outreach worker. I work for Hudson Valley Community Services. I do peer work for an outreach band. So what I'm doing, and we work in a lot of homeless areas and substance abuse areas. So what I've been doing for VOCAL while I'm working as well is trying to recruit. So I'm trying to recruit the homeless people to get them in. I've been talking to them for the last 2 weeks, individuals at one time, maybe 2 or 3 people. But I'm explaining because these people have voices. These people that I've been talking to have voices. And so I'm going to keep working with them, like the sister said, you keep working with them until you just grab them and then come under your wing, and then they'll be a part of our VOCAL family. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm doing 2 jobs in one. I love both of them. And you see us here now, this is Westchester. This is Westchester, the 3 of us, along with the 4 of us. When you see us next time, there's going to be more of us.
Sure.
Thank you.
It's 3 of y'all.
No, it's we're the main 3.
4. One mic.
We have a group of about like 7 or 8 folks who are actually showing up to things pretty consistently. So we're excited that things are slowly but gradually growing in a quality manner of people that are really finding investment in what we're doing. So we're really excited about prioritizing things like HASA in Westchester, really pushing forward like things like at HSS and a number of other issues. So I'm going to, for the sake of time, wrap it up and hand it over to Jawanza. Thank you.
This is our update on chapter leaders for presenting back to us. So I want to really push to Robert at 2 o'clock. So I want you two to come up together and try to spend 4 minutes on each of your. So Levelle and Andy.
Okay, my name is Levelle, and what I'm talking about is something that's kind of fun, but it's about VOCAL. I moved into a new neighborhood and I met this young man named Bishop. He's a local rap artist. Me and him got to talking, right? And then we listened to some of his stuff, and it's content appropriate, right? And so I said to him, my organization is VOCAL New York, and what I want you to do is to make a song that represents VOCAL New York, right? So he started working on it, right? So what I'm gonna ask y'all to do because eventually there's gonna be video, right? And so, what I want is y'all to pick out the images of us at our best, coming our hardest. So when we do put this video thing together, it's also a recruitment video, right? So when we go places, we throw up our video, right? Of the people that we're partnered with. You know, of course, this young man, he gotta be, you know, he's the artist, and he's gonna be doing it. And we're gonna do our thing, and we're gonna bring this so that when we walk into a room with a theme song. Like, this is what we do. We throw our videos up. We recruit people. We make people want to be part of what we are, right? Because one of the things that we have to do, we have to attract people, right? We can't do a whole lot of talking all the time. Sometimes people need to be attracted by what they see and what they hear, right? And when they see somebody just like them, I'm talking about even the guttiest pictures. Catching the mayor at the gym, right?
The mayor at the
You know, our members who are actually street homeless, right? All of our real stuff, so that we can put it, so we can make a visual, so people can see who we really are. Because a lot of people don't see us except on the news. They get little snippets, right? And we put something together that's coherent, that's gonna appeal to our masses, right? This is what I'm looking to do. So I'm asking y'all to get those images, those sound bites that has the most content, that really represent what we do. Send it to me so I can get with him, and we can go through some of the stuff. When you get the lyrics and everything right, because we're gonna work on this, we're gonna get the lyrics right, appropriate, so that the images match the lyrics. I want to make this a thing that's going to attract people to vocal, so that people want to be out there with vocal. Other people want us to be at their places because they want, you know, they want us to be there, right? Because we already rock stars. We already rock stars. So, you know what I mean? Let's just take it to another level and broaden our audience and broaden our membership.
Right, Val.
Thank you, Val. And so, what I want to uplift about this is that leadership looks a lot of ways. Not everybody has to be the person that's up there talking in detail about the policy. Sometimes you want to bring your own interests, your own passions, your own skills, your own creativity into the work. Because if you're committed to ending mass incarceration, for instance, it doesn't have to be that you have to spit fire like Malcolm X. That helps. But you can also do other things. So remember that whenever you're in the world living your life, if you think of it as separate from vocal, remember that any skills that you want to use to build this base, build this movement, you should feel free to talk to your organizer about it and find out ways that you can apply your own passions to this work.
That's the creativity that we have in ourselves.
Right.
Okay, hey everyone, my name is Tia Candy. I'm a leader with Vocal New York and Deepen New York. I'm gonna speak briefly about Deepen New York and what do Deepen New York do. Deepen New York is basically decriminalizing, destigmatizing, and deconcentrating. Those are the three main things that we focus on. Well, the bills that we actually have in place now is, bill number 1 is we basically trying to stop the violence in the Sex Trade Act. We also are trying to, well, the Walk-in-My Trans Ban, that's the bill that I'm the face of, voting for the purpose of prostitution, and things of that nature. I'm very excited this session that we did get the Walk-in-My Trans Ban on the floor. So the bill is on the floor this session, it was on the floor this session, so looks like the first, in the beginning of the year, by January, February, we will repeal the Walk-in-My Trans Ban, so that will be awesome. We also trying to expand a record relief bill for traffickers and all survivors, so that they can get all their criminal charges and not just prostitution charges clear from their records. So we're in the process of doing that bill as well. We also been working on the city level with the 2021 city elections. We also are trying to defund vice. Vice shouldn't be in
What's Vice?
Vice is basically undercover police. Vice is those officers that ride up in black cars and and look like regular people. You would never know that they're undercover or whatever like that. So we're trying to actually defund them because we don't actually know what are they here for. Like, why are y'all even here? We have NYPD, why we got Vice as well. So that money could be going into like the train system, and to housing, and to healthcare. Like, it's too much money. Like, they have too much money, period. So we also trying to get work on the city level with sex work service centers with Corey Johnson. He carved a $3 million for the city budget to support services for the center people. The center people with the center is for people in the sex trades. And then doing a lot with the DA strategy. We're doing a lot with human trafficking intervention courts. We're doing a lot with the city council legislation. We doing a lot. Okay. But yeah, so we're basically just at the tables. And I really want all chapters to speak about sex work, because sex work is work. And I believe once we get a lot of voices and get a lot of individuals that has been charged or has been profiled. Like myself, I have been profiled for being a sex worker or whatever the case may be. Speak a little briefly. Officer basically told me if I didn't give him oral sex that he was going to lock me up and throw me away for the purpose of prostitution. So I did, because I had no choice or whatever like that. So that is not right. But it's a lot. So a lot of people get charged, but it's just by walking down the street, it's really targeted for the black and brown transgender community, whatever, like it's like a stop and frisk for black and brown trans. But so I'm basically dealing with a lot of the laws and policies and at the tables with a lot of the assembly members and the senators and the council members in regards to laws and policies and changing laws, and that's what deepen is about. Decriminalization.
I want to do a temperature check before I pass it back on to Robert. Are folks okay? You know, break or anything like that? We only have exactly an hour for Buffalo.
Say that's what now.
No, I said we had an hour and 15 minutes. Now we have exactly an hour. So Robert's going to come up and give us some grounding about local origin and its beginnings. And then I want to do a mechanical thing just about the organization, especially before Buffalo leaves, because I think it's important that we all understand how the organization functions.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Do I need a mic?
Yeah.
Do I need a mic?
Never needed a mic.
So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Robert Suarez, and I am a vocal leader, but I like to think of myself as a vocal organizational leader. As a vocal organizational leader. And the reason why is because I do work not just with one union or with one campaign, but across all campaigns. I get called in on anything, and I'll jump right in. I became a vocal member about 8-9 years ago. And the way that happened, anybody here know Fred Wright? Anybody remember Fred Wright?
Yeah.
Fred Wright used to be the drug policy organizer at Vocal New York. I made the mistake of giving Fred Wright my phone number one day. It was a big fucking mistake. And the reason why is because once I gave Fred Wright my phone number, in true organizing style, Fred Wright never stopped calling me until I showed the fuck up. And once I showed up, it was all over. I was in. I was in. From that moment on, I started getting involved with more and more things that had to do with Vocal New York. As a vocal leader, I don't like to just speak or talk to you. I like to teach. So when I talk about sort of how the origins of vocal came about, there's going to be a brief test. I know you guys weren't expecting this, but I'm going to ask some questions, and you're going to have to give me some answers. I'm going to give you the answers, but you're going to have to remember. Everybody cool with that?
Yeah.
Everybody cool with that?
Yes.
Everybody cool with that?
No.
Yes. Who said no?
I'm dyslexic. I don't do well with text.
Yeah. So, Vocal New York was started by two guys, actually three people. We're going to talk about these two guys. First person, calm down. Actually, both individuals did long-term prison sentences. Both individuals were hepatitis C, not hepatitis C. Both individuals were HIV positive and had AIDS, right? Both these individuals, when coming out of prison, felt as though there was a need in their community for addicts, for things that weren't happening. Mass incarceration that was going on, right? There's nothing happening with individuals who are coming home who had HIV/AIDS.
I have a question.
Yeah, come on.
HIV and AIDS is totally two different things.
No, it's basically the same thing. I mean,
No,
there's two stages. There's two stages. You may have HIV, right?
Which is the virus.
Right, and then you have AIDS.
Right.
Okay? Cool. So, but no, it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to try to answer a question if one comes up. And if I don't have the answer, I'm going to fake it for me. Move forward. Both of these individuals, as you know, had long-term in prison and other things going on. And their names, remember these names, people, because these names, these individuals are the reason why you are sitting in these chairs. Pay attention to what I'm saying. It's some powerful shit. These individuals are the reason why you're sitting in these chairs. I'm going back 20 years. We're about to celebrate our 20th anniversary.
What?
20 years. We are about to celebrate our 20th anniversary.
Yeah.
Those names are Jose Capistani. Say it again. Jose Capistani.
Jose Capistani.
Jose Capistani.
Jose Capistani.
And Joe Boston.
And Joe Boston.
And Joe Boston.
And Joe Boston.
Jose Capistani.
Jose Capistani.
Jose Capistani.
Jose Capistani.
And Joe Boston.
And Joe Boston.
And Joe Boston.
And Joe
I want you to drill those names into your head. Because as you develop as vocal leaders, it's important that you have an idea or a sense of where this all started. Who put this thing together? The reason why you're standing in front of a legislature. Am I clear on that? So when people talked about NYS, which is how, right, which is one of the first names of well, in 19 started the New York AIDS Housing Network. Everybody got that? New York AIDS Housing Network. All right? And then we sort of shifted to vocal. Everybody know what vocal New York stands for? What did you say?
Voices of Community Activism League.
I want everybody to say that at the same time if you can. Nice and slow though. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Voices of community activists and leaders.
Who?
Voices of Community
Activists and leaders.
Joe who?
Joe Capistani.
Joe who?
Joe Capistani.
And Jose who? And Jose who?
Capistani.
This
Joe Boston.
is my blood though. This is my blood.
What about Jennifer?
So hey, I said there's 3 people I want to talk about too. I don't forget. See, you gotta love our leaders. Our leaders will keep our leaders in check. The third person, who some of you may or may not know, who's a woman who's been doing tremendous work and is still doing tremendous work. Her name is Jennifer Flynn.
Yeah.
Love that woman.
Jennifer Flynn. All right?
Why?
Why what? What's your question?
Because it's why we should know her name.
Why should you know her name? Because she's the third person that helped found Vocal New York.
That's what I want.
All right, she's the third person that helped found Vocal New York. My bad. All right. Everybody with me so far?
Yeah.
Everybody with me so far?
Yes.
There's one thing I want you guys to know. We are a kick-ass organization.
What? That's right. What?
We are
What?
a kick-ass organization. We started in New York City, and as I look around now, we've stretched across the fucking state. We've stretched across the state. We are no longer a borough. We are no longer a city. We are fucking statewide. Do you hear me? We are statewide. Buffalo, Syracuse, we are state fucking wide. This was not here. This was not here. When I came along,
What we doing?
it's not a fight. So that means to me that when we get those calls, and we mobilize, just like when I was in Brooklyn, when vocal moves, the ground will shake. Whoa! When we move, they will feel us coming. When we move, we will not accept anything but yes.
Come on.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
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 I believe.
I believe.
I believe.
I believe.
That we can win.
That we can win.
That we can win.
That we can win.
I believe that we can win.
I believe that we can win. I believe that we can win. I believe that we can win. I believe that we can win. I believe that we can win.
Once again, my name is Robert Suarez.
Yes.
I have had the pleasure of since becoming a vocal leader of traveling not only all over the country, but all over the world.
Yes.
All over
Now
the
we know
world.
why.
And that came from me starting right here in this organization. I'm getting old. I can't do it much longer. I'm looking to each and every one of you. I'm looking to each and every one of you. And I'm ready. You ready to learn? You ready to step up? You ready to lead? See me?
I believe that we can win. 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 I believe that we can win.
Yeah, Mike.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Larry. That was great.
Oh, I wanted to plug that. Do you all know what the Working Families Party is?
The flashlight is on.
Can somebody explain what the WFP is?
Flashlight is on.
No.
Do you want us to explain what the WFP is? I know in New York State we have fusion voting, and Working Families Party is more progressive arm or sort of like independent party that tries to advance progressive candidates into office. So normally if you have a progressive candidate in office, 9 times out of 10, they were associated and supported by the Working Families Party, the WFP, which they endorsed de Blasio when he first became mayor of New York City, which at the time was a good thing. But the reason I mention is because tomorrow, the WFP is holding a series of endorsement meetings with presidential candidates, including Mayor de Blasio. And I know you probably noticed that Flowers here confronted Mayor de Blasio at the YMCA gym like a year ago and asked him a question about homelessness, and it blew up and became like a national story. And all she did was bird dog him. So tomorrow, get this, she's gonna be zoomed in or Skyped in or video called conference into that endorsement thing.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask him a question. And he doesn't know she's coming. So she's gonna open.
Oh my God!
So it's gonna be, and then she's gonna have an opportunity to respond. She'll have a minute to respond if he says something.
Will that be on TV or live?
So how are you, what's gonna be in her opening line? Like,
Don't air this video until
I'm not gonna post the video online. I'm just using that for my own records.
And we're going to, yesterday, Paulette and I were interviewed by New York One, and the interview will be in front of the building I was evicted from. And it was a follow-up on the story of what's happened since you bird dogged the mayors. And basically we told him nothing, and I'm sorry I voted for him twice. Oh yeah, I wrote a song for her. Run, little run, leave the city to us. Run, little run, you betrayed our trust. Run, little run, you done more than enough. Run, little run, leave the city to us. Run, little run, little. And a whole lot of mercy, and we're making up a vocal chorus, and when Paulette gets back, we're gonna film it and make sure it gets shown before he can quit the race, right?
Yeah.
Because he done too many things, promises, the promises turn to dust, you know, and all these other lies. that, and when people say, should we vote for him nationally, we're like, we don't want him citywide. Why would you vote for him? Why would you trust him? He can't be trusted. And therefore, he's not good for you. He wasn't good for me. He's not gonna be good for you either. So we are up for that. And so if New York won Monday, the interview's supposed to be on 7, and it's with Gloria Panzamino or something. But 7. She said it's definitely for 7. It might be before, but she'll let us know if it is.
But if you listen at 7, New York Watch usually says a repeat reel, like every hour and a half. So they'll keep repeating throughout the night.
And on their website too.
And on the website, NewYorkWatch.com.
Okay, we have, wait, Kim, did you want to ask, you about to say something else?
Yes, I was interested in how you were going to tie it in, that you were the one